Good afternoon, everyone. Afternoon, Miss Bridgewater.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. How are you?
Doing well. Yourself?
I'm doing great. I survived a snowstorm.
Very good. Good. The SAP reset date?
January the 28th.
Thank you. And it's wait till we get every. It's not quite 2 o'clock yet, so I'll wait for everyone to get on it too. Let me just go ahead and make an announcement to everyone. Good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Judge Eric Morrow. This is the State Court Expedited Accusation Calendar that we're conducting by video. You have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. You have a right to have an attorney present at these proceedings. We are providing you with the assistance of a public defender this afternoon if you choose to utilize their service. Where would you all like to begin this afternoon?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. We can start with position 2, Ms. Connor.
Okay. Good afternoon, Officer Milton.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Good afternoon, everybody.
Hey, Milton, afterwards, we're going to have Mike go with the Spanish interpreter.
Comprende, señor. Muchas gracias.
Okay. He's going to be in courtroom 1, Your Honor.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Good afternoon, Ms. Connor. You have been charged in case 25 CR 207A with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, there's no history to report at this time.
Good afternoon, Ms. Desiano.
Good afternoon, Judge. This is Ms. Connor, correct?
Yes, position number 2.
Okay, thank you. This incident took place on January 12th. Officers were dispatched to 2929 Landrum Drive. Initially, dispatch was noted someone was stabbed. The victim in this case is Nathaniel Gray. He lives at the incident location with the defendant. There was an argument over texting other people. The victim confronted the defendant about her speaking to other men. There was an argument. He claims that she pushed him, swung at him, and at that point, he grabbed her from the back and put her in a chokehold to subdue her. She got up and grabbed a knife and started swinging it and ended up cutting the victim on his finger as he was trying to close the door. Officers also spoke with the defendant, who claimed that the victim had started the entire altercation. However, after the investigation and where the blood was and all of that, the police determined that the defendant was the primary aggressor. However, the victim was also arrested, Your Honor, on unrelated bench warrants. So we have not been in touch with him today. We're requesting a $2,500 surety bond, no contact, stay away, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. Thank you. And you could sound for Mr. Gray if he's here, although he's probably not.
Mr. Gray is online. Wishes to address the court without opportunity. Good afternoon, Mr. Chitaya. Is this your case? No, it's not. Okay. Mr. McLean, is this
Excuse
your
me.
case?
Yes, Your
Yes.
Honor, it's my case. Sorry, I was muted.
Oh, okay.
All
Yes, go ahead.
right. Sure. So, Your Honor, my client is 18 years old. She has been an Atlanta resident for the last 4 years. She is an aspiring doctor who is currently a pre-med student at Kennesaw State College. And she informed me that she is generally an A and a B student, so she does well in school. And to support herself, she recently started working at Publix in Buckhead this past November. I also want to emphasize once again for the court that my client has no criminal record and no failures to appear. In other words, she has an impeccable record. We would object to the stay away from the address provision. My understanding is that she leases her own apartment, but if the court nevertheless imposes that condition, I can assure the court that my client would be able to live with her mother in Dunwoody. For this case, we ask that the court consider a signature bond, but if that's not available, then the lowest bond value that is reasonable and appropriate.
Who is Mr. Connor who is Mr. Gray to Miss Connor?
Hello, everyone. My name is Majabat. I'm here for interpreting for setting case number 25.
Okay, ma'am, can you hold on for me just a moment? I'm in the middle of a hearing. If you're not associated with this case, I'll be with you, ma'am.
Okay.
Judge,
Um,
it's my understanding that they're in a dating relationship, and the report shows that they both have the same address and that they live together.
Okay, but she's in high school,
She's in college, Your Honor.
in college. Okay. I see is it Toshiba Connor on the line?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Miss Connor. Are you related to Myra?
That's my daughter.
Okay. If I release her on a signature bond, I'm gonna require that there be some type of adult supervision. Would you be able to do that or willing to do that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it's my understanding that she would be able to live with you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And is this the correct spelling of your name that's on the screen here? Tasheba Connor?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so if we can get Miss Connor, you're gonna have to sign to get your daughter out. So it will be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 with a parental cosigner, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Gray, stay away from the Landrum Drive address. She can go back to that address on one occasion with law enforcement to retrieve any belongings, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right,
Yes, sir.
good. Thank you. Good. Thank you for being here, Ms. Connor. And good luck to you, Ms. Tamara Connor.
Your Honor, we're gonna have two interpreters, one for Senegal and one is gonna be the Spanish interpreter. We're gonna start with the Spanish interpreter with Mike in courtroom 1. And then after that, we're gonna proceed to the Senegal. I believe Miss Mai Jabbar. Are you the interpreter?
Majabata, yes, for Wolof.
Okay, for Waller, yeah. So after they're finished, Your Honor, we're gonna put Mr. Chitai and the Senegal interpreter in courtroom 1.
Okay, very good. So,
We're gonna proceed.
go ahead. So we will put, good afternoon, Ms. Chancey. We'll put you into a breakout room in courtroom 1 now. And after that, as Officer Norris has said, we will put you, Madam Senegal interpreter, into the breakout room. Thank you. We appreciate your patience. Okay. So while we're doing that, who can we go to next?
We're gonna go to position number 1, Ms. Avis Buford.
Good afternoon, Ms. Buford. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000206E with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was February the 29th, 2024 out of Clayton County for driving without a license. They have a total of 4 arrest cycles in Georgia. Nothing further to report.
Stasiana?
Your Honor, I have a different history. I'm showing 5 cycles out of Georgia. Last one in, oh wait, maybe it's the same one. Did you say driving without a license in 2024?
Yes.
Okay, she's also got an arrest from 2020 for battery and a 2014 simple battery. It looks like it was dismissed.
Okay.
This incident took place on January 11th. Incident location is 2264 Crossrail Drive. Officers responded there to a domestic dispute. The victim in this case is 15. His name's Tommy. It's her son. And the defendant came home drunk, barged into his room. There was an argument, and she began striking him in the face multiple times. Officers observed her moving his mattress out of his room when they arrived. They also spoke with the defendant on scene. She told officers that she didn't want her son to live there if he wasn't going to follow her rules. And the victim reported to police that the mother's having episodes like this several times a month. There's been frequent violence. They also spoke with the defendant's daughter, who is 10 years old, initials TA. She also reported that she's had several physical altercations with her mother and corroborated what the victim had said, that the defendant came home intoxicated and struck her brother in the face multiple times. We obviously haven't been in touch with the victim, Your Honor, because he's 15, but we have been in touch with grandma who lives at the location as well. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She states that the child was not injured and that sometimes he gets very disrespectful, and doesn't listen. She wants the defendant to come home because she is her caretaker. Your Honor, the state has notified DFACS about this, and at this point, we're requesting a $1,500 surety bond, no violent contact. We're also asking that the defendant undergo an alcohol and drug evaluation and follow any recommended treatment. And if Your Honor is inclined to put it through pretrial, then we would ask for alcohol screening as well. Thank you.
Mr. Chitaya?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 36 years old. She finished school up to the 11th grade. My understanding is she has lived in the College Park area for about 4 years, but she has been a Georgia resident her whole life. She currently works at Freedom Care as a caregiver. She looks after her patients' needs by taking them to doctor's appointments, feeding them, and maintaining their hygiene. She is the primary source of income and support for her children. She lives with her mother and supports her. The mother needs support because my understanding is the mother has memory loss, OCPD, and other medical conditions that require constant attention. And just as with her Freedom Care patients, my client looks after her mother too. We ask for the lowest possible bond, or if the court is willing, a signature bond. But we would object to the stay away provision on that address because it is her address, although no further contact with the victim is acceptable.
Okay, it'll be a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, a parenting class, 1 anger awareness class, no further violent contact with the alleged victim, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Buford.
Yeah, pretrial, right?
That's correct.
All right, next we got number 7, Miss Lloyd.
Good afternoon, Ms. Lloyd. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000217J with 3 counts of simple battery. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was September 22nd, 2024, out of Fulton County for simple battery. And that case is open under 24 CR 006628J. They have a total of 7 arrest cycles in Georgia. Misdemeanor conviction in 2020 for theft by shoplifting, 2024 simple battery. Nothing further.
Staciano?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident took place back in November, on November 8th, at the Vineyards at Brown Mill Apartments, which is located at 2775 Vineyards Drive in Atlanta. The apartment managers there called the police regarding a dispute between 2 tenants. There's surveillance video of the altercation. The video shows the defendant approaching the first victim, who is Siobhan Lampkin. She was trying to get into the complex and apparently was going too slow, and the defendant drove around her, and a dispute began from that point. The video shows the defendant approaching the victim, Ms. Lampkin's vehicle, and eventually striking her several times with an umbrella that she actually took from Ms. Lampkin, who was trying to defend herself. Also in the vehicle was Ms. Lampkin's boyfriend, whose name is Larry Beauchamp, and he got out of the vehicle in defense of his girlfriend, and the defendant started striking him with the umbrella as well. At this point, another party, who's the defendant's sister, intervenes, and the victims say that the sister tried to pepper spray them. Mr. Beauchamp grabs a stick and starts striking the defendant and her sister, and they take the stick from him, and Ms. Lampkin strikes, the defendant strikes Ms. Lampkin again. We've been in touch with Ms. Lampkin today. Mr. Beauchamp was actually arrested as a result of this incident as well, Your Honor. However, the state dismissed His case is obviously self-defense. We've been in touch with Ms. Lampkin, who states that this did happen at the apartment complex. The apartment complex has told them that they cannot live there anymore, as well as the defendant and her sister. She states she was apparently driving too slow and the defendant drove past them, got out of the car, and they started to argue. She states that she wants no contact, and they live one floor from each other in the actual complex. I'm unclear if they still live there because the management has since kicked them out of the location. But you heard from pretrial, she's got an open case involving her sister, actually. And so the state's requesting $1,000 surety on each count, no contact with Mr. Beauchamp or Miss Lampkin, stay away from their residence, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. If you could sound for Miss Lampkin and Mr. Beauchamp, thank you.
What's the bond on the open case?
Let me check.
If Ms. Lampkin or Mr. Beauchamp, if either on the line and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. While
I
she's
did.
looking for that, okay.
I got it. Loading. It's a $1,500 surety, Your Honor.
And do you,
And that Judge Mincy, no contact with the victim and stay away from a different address.
okay. Mr. Chitaya?
Wait, Your Honor, was it a 1,000 or a 1,500 surety?
For the underlying case, the open case is 1,500 surety is my understanding.
Okay. All right. Your Honor, Miss Lloyd is 25 years old. She has a high school diploma. She's lived in Decatur since 2015, although she has been a Georgia resident her entire life. My understanding is her mother has dementia, so she relies on my client for support. Miss Lloyd buys her groceries, cleans her laundry, and cares for her around the house. My client also informed me that she has been diagnosed as a bipolar, and she is currently taking a medication for that as part of her treatment. That being said, we ask for a signature bond, but if the court is unwilling, then the lowest bond value that is reasonable for this case. We do not object to the stay away and no contact provisions.
Okay, for each charge, it'll be $1,000 good bond, makes for a total of a $3,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Lampkin or Mr. Beauchamp. Stay away from the Vineyard Apartments. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Lloyd.
Next, we have position 6, Ms. King.
Good afternoon, Ms. King. You've been charged in case 25 CR 000210Y with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was January 26, 2023, out of Mecklenburg County, North Carolina, for uttering forged instruments. There's 5 arrest cycles out of North Carolina, felony conviction in 2023 for breaking and entering an automobile and uttering forged instruments. Nothing further to report.
Yes, Judge, this happened on January 11th at the Target on in East Point, 3660 Marketplace Boulevard. Loss prevention there, Zenobia Drakeford witnessed the defendant on surveillance taking a backpack and then putting things in the backpack, none of which she had paid for, and attempted to walk out of the store without paying. The total loss was $311.01. It was food, housewares, and miscellaneous items. The state's requesting a $500 surety, stay away from the target, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Yes, Mr. Chitaya.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 23 years old. She settled down in the Atlanta area about 8 months ago. She holds a high school diploma. And for the past 4 months, she has been a member of a volunteer organization called Youth Empowerment Service, where she has been obtaining practical training as she has sought employment. In fact, she has an interview tomorrow at a large retailer called 5 and Below. According to the PSA, there were no failures to appear or felony convictions on her record. And for those reasons, we request that this court consider the possibility of a signature bond But if that's not possible, then the lowest bond value that is reasonable under the circumstances of this case.
Okay, this is position number 6, Ms. King. It will be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Stay away from the target on Marketplace Boulevard, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. King.
Next, we're gonna go to position number 9, Ms. Latoya McDonald.
Good afternoon, Mr. McDonald. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000223J with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was December 3rd, 2011 out of Morrow for theft by shoplifting, and that's their only arrest cycle. Nothing further.
Stesiano?
Yes, Your Honor. What's the last name? I just saw
McDonald,
that.
position
Thank
number
you.
9.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I was looking at the wrong one. This incident took place on January 11th. Officers were dispatched to 1045 Calhoun Avenue in East Point regarding a fight. The victim in this case is Demetrius Williams. The defendant and he share children together and live at the incident location. There was an accusation that the defendant messed with the victim's phone. She was denying it. They had an argument, and the defendant punched Mr. Williams in the face. We've been in touch with him today. He states that they're married and they live together. They share children. He confirmed the events in the warrant. He did say there is an MH diagnosis, that she is medication compliant. However, from time to time, the medication needs to be upped when symptoms start to reappear. And he's under the impression that at this point, that needs to happen. He said that they've gotten into verbal altercations in the past, but this is the first time it's ever been physical. He's not in fear and would like to continue contact and would like the defendant to be able to return back home. We're requesting an SOB through pretrial, no violent contact, anger awareness, stay medication compliant, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
If Mr. Williams is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity. Any objection to any of the state's requests, Mr. Chitalia?
No objection, Your Honor. Wait one moment. Did the state recommend to stay away?
No.
No.
Okay, no objection.
Okay, Mr. Demetrius Williams, is this you on the line? If you would like to speak to the court, you'll have to unmute yourself for me.
Yes, I'm the judge.
Yes, good afternoon, Mr. Williams. Would you like to address the court this afternoon?
Oh no, I'm just ready for my wife to come home.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, Mr.
Thank you.
Williams. It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with Demetrius Williams. Stay medication compliant, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. McDonald. You also, Mr. Williams.
Next, we have position number 8,
Ms. Lorenzano, good afternoon. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000221E with battery and cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was September 7th, 2024 out of Doraville for simple battery. They have a total of 2 arrest cycles, 1 arrest out of Georgia and 1 out of Pennsylvania. Nothing further to report.
Desiano?
Yes, Judge, this happened January 12th at 1055 Arden Avenue. Officers responded there. It's an apartment complex regarding a fight. This is an altercation between next door neighbors. The victim is Minlee, Minlee, Amos, Amos. She states that she was sitting at the apartment clubhouse trying to do a school assignment. And the defendant's 4-year-old was there making noise, and she asked the 4-year-old to be quieter so she could work. There was someone else that was at the clubhouse that witnessed this conversation and went and got the defendant. The defendant shows up and confronts the victim about the conversation, and she struck her in the face in front of the 4-year-old as well. The victim had a laceration to her right eye and also by her nose, and her hair extensions were pulled out. Officers spoke with the defendant, who did say she did not like how the victim spoke to her son. We've not been in touch with Ms. Amos today, and given her very recent arrest for a similar crime, Your Honor, we're asking for a $2,500 surety, so $2,000 on the battery, $500 on the cruelty, no contact with Ms. Amos, stay away from her residence and the clubhouse area, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol. You could sound for her. Thank you.
Mr. Chitaya?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 23 years old. She has lived in the Atlanta area for the past 3 years. She's a high school graduate, and currently she's self-employed. Her company looks after elderly patients who can't care for themselves. She looks after their basic needs like clothing and hygiene. She's been doing this for the better part of 10 years now. And apart from that, she is a model and an actor, is my understanding. She also has a 4-year-old son for whom she is the sole provider. The son right now is staying with a close friend of hers because the son has nowhere else to go. She is his only source of support. My client also informed me that she is disabled following a car accident last July, so she had to miss a few months of work in the past year. We don't object to the stay away or no contact provision. However, we urge this court to consider a signature bond. But if the court is unwilling, then we would like to ask for the lowest bond value that's reasonable for this case.
For the battery, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the cruelty, a $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Amos. Stay away from Ms. Amos's apartment. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, ma'am.
What position was this?
That was position number 8.
8. Okay, we're gonna go to position number 3, Mr. Anthony Zanzi.
Good afternoon, Mr. DeZanzi. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000208C with criminal trespass and damage to property and battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, no history to report.
Thank you, Mr. Esiano.
Yes, Judge, this happened January 11th at 1085 Blackwood Court. Officers responded to a domestic dispute there. The victim is Yvonne Kofigah. Apologize if I'm mispronouncing that. Kofigah. She's the defendant's wife. There was an argument in the kitchen. The defendant pushed her to the ground, she grabbed her keys to try to leave the location, and the defendant took her keys and threw them on the floor and damaged the fob. The defendant then began striking the victim multiple times, and she eventually ran upstairs and he kicked the door down, and then she ran outside and called 911. Officers spoke to the defendant on scene. He claims that this was all an accident. They accidentally ran into each other. He couldn't remember if they'd gotten physical. He did admit to damaging the door. We've been in touch with the victim today. She states they live together at the incident location. They have 2 children. She confirmed the events in the warrant. She states this has never happened before. She's not in fear and would like for the defendant to return to the residence, but she would request that he be ordered to surrender his firearm. And it's his first arrest, Judge. We're requesting a signature bond, no violent contact, anger awareness, no weapons, including that firearm, no drugs, no alcohol. And if you could sound for Miss Kofigah, thank you. Your Honor, would you mind repeating that? You went out.
Ms. Kofigah is on the line.
Yep. You're having bad, I can't hear you either, Judge.
Okay, if Ms. Kofigah is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity.
Yes, I am. Thank you,
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
Honor.
You're welcome.
Tony
If you
is,
can- Okay, hold on for a second for me. If you can raise your right hand for me. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
yes, I do.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
Tony is my husband. He's a good father. and a good husband. And what happened, I believe, was an accident and should never happen again. And I believe we can work through this.
Okay, you're not afraid of him?
No, I'm not.
You wish for him to come home?
Yes, the kids actually miss him.
Okay, thank you for being here this afternoon, ma'am.
Thank you.
Any objection to any of the state's requests, Mr. Chataya?
No objection.
Okay, for the criminal trespass, it'll be $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the battery, a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Ms. Kafiga. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond, and he must surrender all firearms that he has. Good luck to you, sir.
Next, Your Honor, we have position number 4, Mr. Jalil Eli. Position 4.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Eli. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0002009E with disorderly conduct. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, no history to report.
Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Judge, this happened back in July on July 8th at the Sandy Springs branch of the Fulton County Library, 395 Mount Vernon Highway. The defendant entered the library there and he had 3 bags in his hand, one of which was a large suitcase. The staff at the library informed the defendant that he couldn't bring the suitcase into the library. And at that point, he started yelling and cursing and causing a large scene. He was yelling racial slurs at the employees. Also saying things like they assassinated MLK and things of that nature. We're requesting an SOB, Judge, a stay away, a BH, and no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Mr. Chataya?
No objection.
It will be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. I want him to have a social worker visit to assist him with any housing issues that he might have. Stay away from the alleged incident location. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Eli.
Next, Your Honor, we got position number 10, Mr. Morgan.
Good afternoon, Mr. Morgan. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000224Y with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was December the 2nd, 2024, out of City of Atlanta for theft by shoplifting. They have a total of 25 arrest cycles, arrests out of Georgia and Alabama. Misdemeanor conviction in 2024 and 2021 for criminal trespass. 2018 theft by taking. 2018 also hindering 911 call and theft by taking. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Judge, this happened at the Embassy Suites Hotel at 3285 Peachtree Road on January 12th. The defendant's been trespassed from that location. He was trespassed back in June. Yesterday, he returned. They asked him to leave, and he did. And then he returned a second time. The officer saw him trying to enter the gym location, and at that point, they called the police. We're requesting a $500 good bond, stay away, a social worker visit, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Mr. Chataya?
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 29 years old. He has lived in the Atlanta area for the past 15 years. He graduated from high school and he currently works for Sam's Club. He fills out orders online on a full-time basis for the company. He also has 3 children, all of whom live with the mother, but he sends them money regularly. And we ask this court to consider the possibility of a signature bond, but if that's not possible, then the lowest bond amount that is reasonable for this case. Furthermore, we do not object to the stay away and no contact provisions.
Okay, there seems like there's something else going on with Mr. Morgan. I would like for him to have a social worker visit to assess for housing or if there are any other issues that he requires. It'll be a $500 good bond, stay away from the Embassy Suites. no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Morgan.
The judge is gonna do Mike as a special interpreter. We are ready for it? Okay. We're gonna do Mike as a special interpreter, so he can put together. Your Honor, we're gonna do Mike with the Spanish interpreter.
Okay,
So
we
can
ready?
put Ty and Senegal in the breakout with courtroom 1.
Okay, so we'll go to, is Mr. McLean gonna come back in the courtroom too? Or is he gonna stay there?
Number 17, Mr. Contreras.
Your Honor, they're going to use this courtroom now for their other interpretation and confidence. So I'll go into the regular courtroom to do this case.
Okay, and who is whose counsel is going into courtroom 1? Is that Mr. Chitaya? No? Who, which attorney needs a Senegal interpreter?
I think that's Mr. Chitaya's case with the what language?
It's position 4, I think. Let's see. No, position 5, Your Honor.
Okay. So, so are you ready to go into the breakout room? Okay, so if we can put Mr. Chitaya, Madam Interpreter, and courtroom 1 into a breakout room, please. And we'll take Mr. McLean's case as soon as he gets to courtroom 2. Can someone tell me what position this is?
17. I got this. I got this.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Chancellor. If you can raise your right hand for me, please. Do you swear or affirm that you will interpret from Spanish to English and English to Spanish to the best of your ability?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Good afternoon, Mr. Reyes Contreras. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000-220Y with simple battery family violence.
Buenas tardes, señor Contreras. Usted ha sido acusado en el caso 25 CR 0002220Y con golpes y lesiones simples, violencia familiar.
Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
¿Hay antecedentes, señora Hardy?
The last arrest was December 9th, 2023.
El último arresto ocurrió el 9 de diciembre del 2023.
Out of Fulton County for assault, family violence, battery, and obstruction.
En el condado de Fulton por agresión familiar, golpes y lesiones y obstrucción a la autoridad.
And that case is open under 23 CR 007856E.
Y ese caso fue abierto bajo el número 23 CR 007856E.
They have a total of 2 arrest cycles in Georgia.
Y en Georgia tienen 2 ciclos de procesos.
There was a misdemeanor conviction for driving without a license in 2022.
En el 2022 hubo una convicción por un delito menor de manejar sin licencia.
Nothing further to report.
Nada más para informar.
Good afternoon, Your Honor.
Buenas tardes, Su Señoría.
This defendant was also on the Saturday C calendar. He's got a case that's open 25 CR 000192Y.
Este acusado también tiene está en la lista de causas del sábado, la C, y es el número abierto, el caso pendiente de 25 CR 00192Y.
That is an incident from the 10th of January, simple assault, family violence, 2 counts.
Es un incidente ocurrido el 10 de enero de golpes y lesiones simples, violencia familiar con 2 cargos.
And criminal damage to property.
y también con daño ilícito a la propiedad.
The bond he was given on Saturday is a $3,000 SOB through pretrial level 1.
La fianza dada el sábado fue de $3,000 bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio nivel 1.
He has been ordered to stay away from the address 613 Eagles Crest Village Lane.
Él ha recibido una orden de distanciamiento perimetral de el 613 Eagles Crest Village Lane.
And have no contact with the victim, last name Osorto, Osorto.
Y también una orden de no tener contacto alguno con la víctima Osorto o SORTO.
The case in front of you today is from the 6th of January, so a few days earlier, last week.
El caso que está en frente suyo es del 6 de enero, unos pocos días antes en la semana pasada.
At the same location, 613 Eagles Crest Village.
En el mismo lugar, 613 Eagles Crest Village.
It's reported that the defendant was living there with his wife.
I'm sorry. Se informó que el acusado vivía ahí con su esposa.
She's the victim in the case from Saturday.
Y ella es la víctima en el caso del sábado.
On the 6th, the defendant shoved his nephew.
Y el caso del día 6, el acusado empujó a su sobrino.
His name is Isaac Medina, excuse me.
Y su nombre es Isaac Medina.
Medina Padilla.
Padilla.
This caused the young man to fall down the steps and scrape his hands and hurt his ankle.
Esto causó que el joven cayera por las escaleras y lastimarse su tobillo.
We would be asking for a $3,000 SOB through pretrial.
Pedimos una fianza bajo firma a través de los servicios previos al juicio.
Actually, we would be asking for a surety, Your Honor. He's got an open case that's in bond forfeiture status.
En realidad, la fianza será bajo firma porque él tiene un caso pendiente con con un estado de fianza confiscada.
Stay away from the same location, 613.
Y que se mantenga distanciado del lugar 613 en Roswell.
Sí, Eagles Crest Village Lane in Roswell.
Eagles Crest Village Lane in Roswell.
And to have no contact with Mr. Isaac Medina Padilla.
Y no tener contacto alguno con el señor Isaac Medina Padilla.
No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and he, I think, has already been given a one-time escort in the other 25 CR case, but that would make sense as well here. And I'll give you the case number for the 23 case.
Y no tener ningún contacto con el señor Medina Padilla, se prohíbe el uso de droga, alcohol y armas, y creo que él ya tenía un permiso para ir escoltado por un policía en el caso 25 CR 144217 para ir a buscar sus pertenencias personales, pero ya le doy la siguiente información.
The 23 CR case, he has a $2,500 SOB through the jail that you signed in December of 2023, and his bond has been forfeited as of August 2024 for failure to appear.
En el caso del 2023, él tiene una fianza bajo firma de $2,500 a través de la cárcel que usted firmó en diciembre del 2023. Y su fianza ha sido confiscada en agosto del 2024 por incomparecencia ante el tribunal.
That is a battery family violence case as well, Your Honor.
y eso fue un caso de golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar también, su señoría.
Were you here on Saturday, Miss Allen?
No, but I did prepare the case for Saturday. It was Mrs. Falk.
Okay,
Estuvo
and do
aquí el
we,
sábado, señora Allen, no, pero el caso fue preparado por la señora Paul.
do we know why this case wasn't handled on Saturday as well with the other?
I'm wondering if it's because of the hyphenated last name. He came in on Saturday just as Jose Contreras.
Creo que los casos no se están tratando juntos debido al apellido, que es doble, y entró el día sábado bajo el nombre de José Contreras solamente.
And so that's typical with the Hispanic patrilineal. So I think it just was connected as the same person once put into the system.
Y eso es muy normal que suceda cuando hay este tipo de nombres, pero una vez puesto en el sistema se unieron los casos.
Mr. McLean?
Señor McLean.
Your Honor, let me confirm the date of the case involving alleged victim Isaac Medina Padilla was
Déjeme, su señora, confirmar la fecha que involucra al señor Isaac Medina Padilla.
was January 6th of 2025 or January 6th of 2024 or 5?
Correct. It was 2024. So not a week ago, but a year and a week ago.
Este caso fue en el 2024, o sea, no ocurrió la semana pasada, sino hace un año atrás.
So we have a 2023 case. He gets out on bond, fails to appear in August of 2024. By then, he has already committed the January 2024 incident. A warrant is issued for that. He was arrested on January the 10th, 2025. Once put in the system, his fingerprint information connected with the active warrant and the active bench warrant case, and he was served with the active warrant for a year ago.
Entonces tenemos el caso del 2023, él sale bajo fianza y no se presenta en agosto del 2024 ante el tribunal. Hasta entonces ya había cometido el incidente de enero 2024. La orden de arresto se emite por eso. Él fue arrestado en enero, el 10 de enero del 2025. Y una vez que entra esta información en el sistema, la información de sus huellas digitales conectadas con la orden de arresto activo y la orden de arresto activa en el caso. Entonces se le sirvió con una orden de arresto activa por un año, el caso de un año antes, en el mismo lugar.
Now, am I mistaken in thinking that the 23 CR 007856E case does not have a battery family violence? It has a simple assault family violence, a simple battery, an obstruction, plain battery.
Entonces, el caso de violencia familiar del año 2023, que tiene una agresión simple, violencia familiar y golpes y lesiones simples, y también obstrucción a la autoridad con golpes y lesiones.
I could be wrong because my note taking might have left off an FB that is there, but I didn't write that down.
Puedo estar equivocado, pero mis notas pueden haber dejado algo sin escribir mientras prestaba atención.
That's my understanding.
Sorry.
Okay. So the thing from January 6, 2024, Mr. Medina Padilla has been gone for about a year. And I noticed that in the spring of 2024, in the other case, that was the failure to appear that caused the August bond forfeiture amount.
Entonces, el caso del 6 de enero del 2024, el señor Medina Padilla el caso había ya ocurrido por un año y me di cuenta que en la primavera del 2024, en el otro caso, ya había una incomparecencia que causó la fianza de agosto que sea confiscada por incomparecencia.
And I noticed in the spring of 2024, the return to sender envelope had 613 Eagles Crest Village Lane in Roswell, but it did not have an apartment number. So the reason for the return to sender was marked as insufficient address.
Entonces me di cuenta que en la primavera del 2024, cuando se devuelve la notificación que se le envió al 613 Eagle Crest Village Lane en Roswell, veo que el sobre no tenía un número de apartamento. Entonces la razón de que regresó esa carta fue porque no había, la dirección no estaba completa.
I have no idea whose fault, if anyone's, is the lack of an apartment number because I haven't been able to grab the correct documents that preceded that.
Y no tengo idea de quién es la culpa por no tener la información del número de departamento porque no he podido ver los documentos correctos que antecedieron a ese envío de la carta.
But Mr. Reyes does tell me he hasn't seen Medina in approximately a year, and he believes he's moved to another state.
El señor Reyes me ha informado que él no ha visto a Medina por aproximadamente un año después que se mudó a otro estado.
Given the date of the offense we're dealing with today,
Dado la fecha con el caso que estamos tratando hoy,
and the fact that it is well, the charge is the simple assault, I believe, or simple battery rather, and that is or is not a family violence on today's.
porque estamos tratando el cargo de agresión simple y creo que golpes y lesiones simples en su lugar, y eso no es el caso de violencia familiar en el cargo de hoy.
My point there would simply be to use those as factors to ask for a signature bond.
Mi solicitud es que es simple de que usar todos estos factores para solicitar una fianza bajo firma.
Mr. Reyes works in landscaping and has done so for several years.
El señor Reyes trabaja en paisajismo y lo ha hecho por varios años.
That's all.
Eso es todo.
Your Honor, the 2023 case is battery family violence. I'm looking at the accusation here, and I'm looking at the bond order. It includes his wife, Mrs. Osoto.
Su señoría, en el caso del 2023 es golpes y lesiones, violencia familiar. Estoy viendo en la acusación aquí y me doy cuenta de que ha habido una orden de fianza, lo que ese caso también incluye a su esposa, la señora Osorto.
Sí. As well as someone else living in the house, Alma Garcia.
También a alguien más que vivía en la casa, Alma García.
I'm not sure if there's a legitimate excuse for why this gentleman's got a bench warrant on that case.
No estoy segura de que si hay una excusa legítima por lo cual este caballero obtuvo una orden de arresto en ese caso.
I think what's important for the court is that he has again battered family members, including his wife, which he was heard for on Saturday. And previous to that, even though maybe the nephew's gone, the nephew at the same household. Thank you.
Y creo que es importante para que el juez lo considere de que él otra vez ha golpeado a miembros familiares, incluido su esposa, quien, de quien él, fue escuchada el sábado. Y también anteriormente a eso, a través de que quizás el sobrino se haya ido, él también era miembro de esa familia.
So, just so I'm clear, Miss Allen, back in 2023, I gave him a signature bond and told him to stay away from his wife.
Entonces, señor Allen, en 2023 yo le di una fianza bajo firma y le dije que se manteniera distanciado de su esposa, para entender.
Is that right?
Correcto.
Okay,
Yes.
and then on Saturday, he was here because of another alleged incident with his wife that he was supposed to be staying away from.
Yes.
Entonces, el sábado él estuvo aquí debido a otro incidente alegado con su esposa, que supuestamente él tenía que estar distanciado de ella. Sí.
So if I had been the judge on Saturday, I would not have given him a signature bond because he's already violated one of my orders.
Entonces, si yo hubiese sido el juez del sábado, no le hubiera dado una fianza bajo firma porque él hubiera incumplido una de mis órdenes.
As such, for this case, it will be a $2,000 good bond.
Entonces, debido a eso, en este caso será una fianza de $2,000,
No further contact with the alleged victim.
no tener más contacto alguno con la víctima alegada
Stay away from the incident location.
y mantenerse distanciado del lugar donde ocurrió el incidente.
No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond.
Queda prohibido el uso de drogas, alcohol y armas mientras esté libre bajo fianza.
Okay, if he does not make bond, he'll be on the SAP calendar on January 28th.
Si él no sale bajo fianza, él va a estar de nuevo en la lista de causas de todos los casos de trámite rápido el día 28 de enero.
Ms. Bridgewater, did you get all of those case numbers?
No, will they repeat them, please?
Absolutely.
Or you could send it to me in the chat, whichever works best for you.
I'll send it to you in the chat. I apologize. That was so hard. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, and I'll be the judge on that day. If he does not make bond, I ask that all these cases come before me at that time.
Muy bien, yo pido que como seré el juez ese día, si él no sale bajo fianza, quiero que todos esos casos se presenten ante mí en ese día.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Buena suerte, señor.
Are we in need of Ms. Chansey's assistance for any other, anyone else this afternoon?
¿Hay alguien que necesite un intérprete en español para hablar con el señor juez? Por favor, prenda su cámara, micrófono y avísenos.
Okay, if not, thank you, Ms. Chansey. We appreciate it as always.
You're
Have a good
welcome, Your
afternoon.
Honor. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Your Honor, we're gonna go to the next interpreter case, position number 5.
Madam Interpreter, can you tell me what language this is?
Wolof,
Say it again for me.
Wolof.
Okay, if you could raise your right hand for me. Do you swear or affirm that you will translate to the best of your ability in this matter?
Yes, I will.
Place your hand down. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mr. Ka. You have been charged in case 25 CR 000-198D with 2 counts of battery family violence.
Naka bëccëg bi yaa ngi am ñaari kii yu nga xam ne loolu nga war a loolu lañ la charge. Sëriñ yaa ngi may dégg.
maa ngi dégg waaw.
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 Charge nañ la ñaari charge dañ la kii charge téye si ñaari kii bi nga xam ne loolu nga def.
dañ maa teg ci ñaari point.
Waaw.
waaw muy ban ak ban man ndax man na maa laaj ban ak ban la.
Can you tell me what or which one it is?
Are you asking me?
Yes, he's asking.
He's asking, well,
What
all
I charged.
all I want to tell him right now is that he is charged with 2 counts of battery family violence.
Danga am familia yi nga xam ne yooyu nga def tooñ yi nga def ñaari tooñ nga am.
waaw ñaar tooñ mi ban ak ban moom lay laajte.
He's
Okay.
asking which.
I don't understand the question. So he's been charged with 2 counts of battery family violence, and that's as far as we've gotten thus far. Also,
ñoom loolu lañu am danga comme li nga xam ne danga dóor wala loo def si liñ la téye.
liñ ma téye.
da tey comprendre waaw.
waaw maanaam xam nga man xamaguma la lañ ma téye maanaam liñ ma jàppee expliqué laa man sama bopp mais ñoom la koy wax lañ jàpp mais man diglooguñu ba xam nu mu demee.
I still don't know what I'm here for because I
Okay.
don't know what I did.
We'll get to that. Okay. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
No, Your Honor, no history to report at this time.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from January the 9th of 2025 at 2909 Campbellton Road Southwest.
Can you repeat it, please?
This is an incident from January the 9th, 2025 at 2909 Campbellton Road Southwest.
January 9, Campbellton. Send apart foofu lañ la téye.
Police were called to that location at about 9 p.m.
Police yi ñëwoon nañ foofu noonu si juróom-ñeneenti waxtu si guddi.
Wow.
The
Okay,
victim-
Madam Interpreter, he does not have to respond, okay? Just have him just listen to what's being said without responding, and I'll have his attorney respond at a later time, but he doesn't have to respond to every time someone says something, okay?
Nee na jarut nga delloo bu keneen waxee yow nga bàyyi sa avocat bi dina wax si yow dina la waxal.
Continue, Miss Allen.
Thank you. At the location, police spoke with the victim, Thierno Sy, that's spelled Theirno. Last name is Sy, S-Y.
Si palaas bi police yi waxoon nañu tur can you say the name again, please?
Thierno Sy. The
Yeah.
spelling is
Thierno Sy.
Theirno.
Police yi wax nañu Thierno Sy.
He reported that while he was cooking, the defendant, who is his roommate, tried to take food, and he told him, no, wait, so we can have dinner together. That's their cultural tradition.
Wax na ne bim doon togg ñëwoon nga pour nga lekk waxoon na ne pour ñu xaar ñëpp lekk loolu mooy aada bi ñuy def.
The victim reported the defendant was angry and got a knife and came at him.
ñi tooñ nee na nga mer and ñëw ak paaka ci moom.
The victim disarmed the defendant, and the defendant then struck him in the face.
Ki ñi tooñ mu jël nangu paaka bi ba pare yow nga ñëwaat dóor ko.
The victim sustained an injury to his right eye.
Am na gaañu si benn bëtam bi si bëti ndeyjoor bi.
And he had a mark on his left hand as a result of the defendant biting him.
Am na gaañu si càmmoñam bi si matt bi nga ko matt.
We attempted to reach out to the victim. The number we have off of the police documents is not accepting calls. Although I do see he may have joined us on the Zoom.
Mu ne terayoon nañ pour woo ko amuñu ko waaye numéro bi demut waaye foog na
We're asking for a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with the victim. Stay away from the station.
$20,000 bu ñu war a fay.
And no firearms, drugs, or alcohol, or any weapons.
Pour affaire kii bi gànnaay bi ak lii ak alcohol bi ñu naan. Somebody is on the Zoom saying that the victim is here in Wolof.
Okay. We're also asking for 2 days anger management, Your Honor. And if you'd sound for the victim, Mr. Sy, that's spelled S-Y. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Sy, if you're on the call and wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. Is this you here, Mr. Sy? And,
Somebody named a Cham.
Madam Interpreter, if you would sound for Dierno Sy, please.
Sign for
Dierno Sy.
Dierno Sy.
Yes, the alleged victim.
Sitting. The victim, nay. Sitting is the defendant.
Your Honor, he's saying that Mame Tiano Watch is the victim. That's what he just told me.
Okay. If you can, whoever this is under Mame Dierno Watch, can you hear me? And do you want to address the court?
Joanna, I think like they have bad connection. Then the defender, I mean, it's his name is Cherno C. Cherno C. He should be on the Zoom. I hear him earlier.
Okay. Does Mr. C speak English?
No.
Okay.
No, da nga bëgg wax slide bi da nga wax man la da ngay jéem wax nga xool ndax ñoom duñ la dégg pour mën a xam ne may kii.
Allô?
Yes, Madam Interpreter, if you would ask Mr. C if he would like to address the court.
Mr. C, ndax am nga war a wax.
Hello.
Waaye ñu ngi leen di dégg.
Mu ne mi ngi dégg waxal il faut nga isolé.
Okay. Allô?
Okay, you're gonna have to tell him he's gonna have to stand still.
Yes. Hello.
Da nga war a taxawal benn place pour kii bi mun a kii ñu mën laa dégg.
Soxna si yaa may dégg ah?
Yeah, maa ngi lay dégg. Can you hear me?
Yes, ask him what he would like to tell the court.
Lan nga am pour wax tey court bi?
Dan la am pour wax man laa ma doon histoire affaire famille ak yooyu noonu man ci man la des bu fekkee ci man la des pour ñu jégal ko yooyu noonu man baal naa ko xol bu seet guy jégal naa ko topp ma ko dara erreur la woon mënul woon ñàkk lu waroon am na man jégal
da ngay wax benn Mr. da ngay wax benn bu ko defee ma mun ko interpret George mu mun a understand.
Ok, no problème dama ne dañu amoon histoire man ak moom.
We had a fight, me and him.
And?
Yeah. Ñu ngi lay dégg mën nga wax.
Waaw man dañu amoon histoire man ak moom.
Waaw. We had a fight, me and him.
Okay, do you live together?
Yéen a dëkk?
Ñun ñoo dëkk waaw.
Yes, we live together.
And what do you want to tell me about the fight?
Lan nga ma bëgg a wax ci affaire jote bi?
Affaire bi ni mu demee woon xam naa affaire seytaane la rek parce que ñun ñoo dëkk biñ dëkk léegi muy dem bu yàgg parce que def na 1 an et quelque ñu ngi dugg ci presque ñu dugg ci 2 ans yooyu noonu mosuñu am benn altercation peut-être affaire seytaane la ak yooyu noonu moom peut-être ma entendu am na sama
baal ma da ngay def wax bi mu gàtt bu ko defee ma mën ko mën a interpret clearly ci George bi ñun ñoo we live together and we have been living for almost a year or so it was just a fight that happened
I was told that he pulled a knife on you. Is that correct?
mu ne dañ wax nañ ma ne daa génnee paaka.
Exactly.
wax nañ ma ne daa génnee paaka. dégg nga.
Well.
Yes.
And I was told that he bit you. Is that correct?
No problem ko.
wax nañ ma ne daf laa màtt.
Soxna si répété li nga doon wax.
wax nañ ma ne daf laa màtt tamit.
Daf ma màtt sama loxo bi, yes, daf ma gaañ, daf ma màtt sama loxo bi.
Yeah, he did bit me.
Okay.
Mhm.
Anything else you want to tell the court?
am na leneen loo bëgg a wax si court bi.
Non, bu fekk li ma bëgg wax mooy man la amal problème affaire famille la sama frère la jéggal dama bëgg ñu baal ko parce que man jéggal naa ko.
It's me that he had a fight with. Now that I just want to let go of everything. He's my family. I forgave him.
Anything further?
am nga leneen loo bëgg a yokku.
Non, pour ñu jéggal ko kese kay laay demandé wu ma leneen.
Right now, all I want is that I forgave him, and I want the court to forgive him too.
This is a bond hearing, sir. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to allow him to come home or not, or come back to the residence or not.
fu mel dañuy seet ndax dafa mën naa delluwaat ci kër gi affaire bond bi wala fu lu muy def.
Mën na ñëwaat ci kër gi ñu dëkkaat ensemble.
He can come back to the house and we live together.
Are you afraid of him?
Danga ragal?
No, ragaluma ko. Lu ma koy ragale sama nit sama famille la.
I'm not scared of him. He's my family.
Has this ever happened before?
Lii mas naa am.
No, c'est la première fois.
This is the first time it happened.
Thank you for being here, sir.
Jërëjëf ci li nga nekk fii.
Baax na, jërëjëf.
Okay. Who do we have here on the iPhone? Are you associated with this case?
Kañ leen am noonu ndax yow it da nga bokk ci case bi.
Dama bokk ci.
I'm just a community leader.
Okay. All right. Thank you, sir. Mr. Chitaya?
Your Honor, will my arguments be translated so that I know how to speak?
Yes.
Okay. I would first argue that this court has no jurisdiction to keep Mr. Ka detained, nor to impose conditions on his release.
Hello, Mr. K. Can you repeat what you said, please?
Yes. I would argue that this court has no jurisdiction to keep Mr. Ka detained, nor to impose conditions on his release.
Dinaa aju fi ne court bi amul dara luñ ko téye fii nii.
The booking report in front of me has an arrest date and time of January 9th, 2025 at 9:45.
Bañ téye kii nii January 9 at 9:25 p.m., right?
That is more than 72 hours ago.
Open a ñetti fan fu mel ni.
Sorry?
72 hours is 3 days.
Yes, more than 3 days ago.
Open the ñetti fan.
Under Georgia Statute 17-426.
Under Georgia 13.
Yes.
The arresting officer must bring the defendant for his first appearance within 72 hours after arrest.
police bi ko téye dina war a indi kii bi biñ ko téye.
Since Mr. Ka was arrested more than 72 hours ago and hasn't had a hearing yet, we therefore ask for immediate release under the statute.
Bañ ko téye nii ba tey am na ñetti fan amul dale mën nañ dañ bëgg pour ñu bàyyi ko.
If the court is not open to this argument, I would continue to argue Mr. Ka is 38.
Bu fekkee ne court bi nanguwut li muy kii dina try di ci wax pour ñu mën ko kii baal.
Mr. Ka has no criminal history.
Saka amul benn criminal history bu mu def.
This is his first time getting arrested.
Li mooy premier fois mi ñu téye.
He has lived in Atlanta for 1.5 years until now.
Dëkk na ci dëkk bi fii nii benn at ak half te amul benn problem.
He is an electrician.
Électricien la.
Although he doesn't work right now, he has worked for 9 months in the past.
Liggéey na juróom-ñeenti weer ci ginnaaw.
We would object to the stay away provision.
Can you repeat that, please?
Mr. Chataya,
Hello?
the state has recommended a signature bond. I'm not going to make him stay away, okay?
Okay.
So if it's okay with you, for each charge, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. Makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further violent contact with the alleged victim, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. You get that, Madam Interpreter?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to interpret.
Okay.
Dina war a fay pour xaalis $4,000 ñeenti junne pour signature bond bi ñu mën ko bàyyi.
Okay. All right. Good luck to you, sir. All right. Thank you, Madam Interpreter. We appreciate your help this afternoon.
All right. Thank you.
We have next.
Next, we have position 11, Murray Bullock.
Okay. Good afternoon, Ms. Murray Bullock. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000225G with terroristic threats and acts. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was October 11th, 2023, out of city of Atlanta for simple assault. They have a total of 2 arrest cycles in Georgia. Nothing further to report.
Desiana?
Yes, Your Honor. Sorry, I just lost my place. 1 second. This incident happened January 11th, 5370 Summer Lane Trail in East Point. The defendant is the victim's landlord. The victim is Bilal, B-I-L-A-L Muhammad. On the incident date on the 11th, the landlord tried to break into the defendant's bedroom and fight him. There was an incident that happened 2 days ago in Buckhead where the defendant allegedly assaulted the victim and he called the police. At that time, after the police arrived, he agreed to work it out with the defendant, and so no one was arrested. However, the defendant was very upset that the victim had called the police and sent the victim several messages threatening him. specifically saying, I don't care to go to jail, you effing clown. I'm gonna come up there with a couple guys and beat the shit out of you. Why we're friends? Why did you call the police and send me to jail like that? You will pay for this. She did show up to the residence with two men and two 2x4s and kicked down the door, and that's when the victim called the police. We've been in touch with him today. He states that not only is the defendant his landlord, but also his employer. He's living at her property. She states that the defendant's bullying and assaulted him on Thursday. Police came, no arrest was made, like I said. At this point, he is in fear for his safety and he wants to be out of the residence. He said he needs about 2 weeks to get out and he wants no contact. And Your Honor, she does have a simple assault case that's open but not accused, and looks like from the notes on our end that it's headed or was headed for diversion or is possibly in diversion. And so in light of that, the state's requesting a $2,000 surety bond, no contact with Mr. Muhammad, stay away from the residence for now, and we can address a bond modification later once the victim moves out. No weapons, drugs, or alcohol, and if you can sound for Mr. Muhammad.
Mr. Muhammad wishes to address the court now. Opportunity. Yes, Mr. Chutaya.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Murray Bullock is 33 years old. She has lived in the Atlanta area for the past 8 years. She's very studious, having obtained a master's degree in educational psychology and counseling. She has been self-employed for the past 6 years, operating halfway houses, group homes, and boarding homes. And she has a disabled sibling for whom she provides housing. According to the PSA, she has no failures to appear in the past 2 years, nor convictions. We would object to the stay away if that's possible. My understanding is that the alleged victim no longer lives at that area. If a signature bond is not available, then we would just ask for the lowest bond amount given the circumstances of this case.
Okay. It'll be a $5,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Mr. Muhammad. If Mr. Muhammad is still living at the Summer Lane Drive address, she necessarily cannot go back there and will have a one-time escort with police to retrieve her belongings. If Mr. Muhammad is not living at that address, she can obviously return to it. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. So she's to have a one-time escort. If Mr. Muhammad's there, she'll have to collect her belongings. If he's not there, then she can reside there. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Your Honor, was that a $5,000?
Signature bond through pretrial level 1.
Thank you.
You're welcome. That was position number 11. Who do we have next?
Position 24, Ms. Weber.
Good afternoon, Ms. Weber. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0002222C with battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was September 24th, 2024 out of Johns Creek for a DUI. They have a total of 2 arrest cycles, arrests out of Georgia and Michigan. Nothing further to report.
Salin.
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from the 11th of January at about 4 p.m. Police were called to 4965 Cinnabar Drive. That's in Johns Creek. The victim in this case is the daughter of the defendant. Her name is Jabree Weber, Jabree. She was visiting from California. She reported to police that her mother became aggressive and got in her face, slapped her multiple times and grabbed her by the hair and her arm. She had visible marks on her arm as a result of being grabbed. She had recorded her mother slapping her and being aggressive, corroborating that she was the primary aggressor. The daughter has moved out and she had returned to the scene to get some belongings when this incident occurred. We spoke with her today. she confirmed what occurred. She says that this is the first time that her mother has been physically violent towards her, and she's asking that her mom get some anger management. We would agree with that, Your Honor. We'd ask for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial, no contact, and anger management, Your Honor. And if you'd sound for Mrs. Weber.
Mr. Roy, what to address the court? No opportunity.
Actually, Your Honor, I believe Mrs. Weber, the victim, would like no violent contact. We would ask for anger management and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Okay, no violent contact, Miss Allen?
Yes, Your Honor, I'm sorry.
Okay, no, you're fine. Just want to make sure. Mr. McLean, is this your case?
It is. We don't disagree with anything. It's in the discretion of the court whether anger management or anger awareness, to the extent they are different, would be appropriate, but we're fine with that.
$3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1 day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Jabari Weber, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Ms. Weber.
Thank you, Your Honor. Bye-bye.
Are we done at ACDC for the day?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll see you next time. Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
Next, Your Honor, in courtroom 2, this is going to be position number 12, Mr. Chaz O'Neill.
Okay, Mr. O'Neill, you have been charged in case 25 CR 0000226G with harassing communications and stalking. Is there a history?
No history to report at this time.
Stesiana?
Yes, Your Honor, this incident took place on January 9th. The defendant is the victim's ex-boyfriend. They broke up in August. This incident happened in the early morning hours, like in the middle of the night on the 9th. He went to the victim's apartment, knocking on the door several times. He also started calling her several times. He was found sleeping in front of her door when the police arrived. They asked him to leave and he did. However, later that morning, he then showed up to the victim's workplace and he was removed by staff there. Officers collected evidence showing 32 phone calls, multiple texts being sent. The victim didn't answer any of them. She obviously wants no contact, but we have not been in touch with her today. And her name is Danielle Russell. We're asking for an SOB through pretrial, absolutely no contact with the victim, stay away from her residence and her workplace, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Any objection to any?
No objection, Your Honor.
For each charge, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ms. Russell. Stay away from her residential address. Stay away from her work address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. O'Neill, no contact means absolutely no contact. No phone contact, no personal contact, no internet contact, no social media contact, no email contact, no contact whatsoever. If I find that you've been contacting this young lady, you'll be in violation of this bond and you'll be right back where you are. You understand me?
Yes, sir. I will not be contacting this person under any circumstances. Thank you.
Okay, very good. Good luck to you, sir.
Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 13, Mr. Frandy Paul.
Good afternoon, Mr. Paul. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000228C with willful obstruction of law enforcement officers. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was March the 4th, 2022 out of DeKalb for violation of parole. There is a total of 10 adult arrest cycles in Georgia. A misdemeanor conviction in 2022 for criminal trespass and battery family violence. 2015 simple assault family violence. There's a felony conviction in 2022 for aggravated assault and possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony and by a convicted felon. 2019 theft by taking. There appears to be 3 holds, 1 out of Pembroke, for a probation violation. The date of that is April 1st, 2022. Out of Noonan for a probation violation, January 25th, 2024. And Decatur for a probation violation, January 3rd, 2024. Nothing further to report.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident took place on the 11th. Officers responded to 325 Auburn Point Drive, initially to investigate a domestic dispute. The defendant had locked out his child's mother from the residence with the 3-week-old child she had in her arms out in the cold. So police arrived and ordered the defendant to open the door, and he refused, and the officers witnessed him jump off the balcony in the back and flee the scene. Of course, they ordered him to stop, and he did not. We're requesting a $1,000 surety bond, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Is this your case, Mr. Chataya?
Yes, it is, Your Honor. My client is 26 years old. He's lived in Atlanta his whole life. He obtained an associate's degree in communications. Since last August, he has been self-employed, operating a trucking company called Mayana Fleet Solutions, I believe. He works there 10 hours every day for a total of 60 hours per week. And right now, he is the main and primary provider for his significant other and his 3-week-old daughter. We would object to the stay-away order if there is one. And we urge this court to consider a signature bond, but if the court is not willing, then the lowest available bond value.
Okay, it'll be a $500 good bond, no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Paul.
Next, we got position number 14, Mr. Poole.
Good afternoon, Mr. Poole. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0001848A with simple battery. Is there a history, Miss Hardy?
The last arrest was August 28th, 2024 out of Atlanta for theft by shoplifting. They took a NOLO plea on that. They have a total of 21 arrest cycles in Georgia. A felony conviction in 2016 and 2017 for terroristic threats and acts. Misdemeanor conviction in 2017 for disorderly conduct, simple assault. 2016 obstruction. It appears that they're on probation for theft by receiving, and that case number is 21 SC 177376. Nothing further to report.
Your Honor, this defendant has been reset for a few settings. This is an incident from January the 9th at about 1 p.m. The incident location is 3090 Early Street. It's alleged that the defendant threw a rock at Elias Shaler, the parking attendant there, after he was asked to leave the property. We spoke to Mr. Shaler. He says he works at that location, that the defendant was harassing other people there, yelling and screaming. Then when he asked him to leave, the defendant turned on him, began yelling and screaming at him. He said he told the defendant he was going to call the police, and when he turned around, the defendant threw a rock at him and it hit him in the leg. He's requesting no contact and a stay away. I would note that the defendant was just released on December the 2nd, 2024, for a theft and criminal trespass case, Your Honor. And I believe that's the case that pretrial just mentioned. He's got 21 cycles. We're asking for a $1,000 surety bond. That's what he has already, to stay away from the 3090 Early Street location. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, and no contact with Mr. Shaler, and that's SHALER. This case was reset due to behavioral issues. It was discussed on Saturday. After, I believe, Friday, the issue was that cell phone was taken to the defendant's cell and he was screaming but wouldn't waive his presence. And Mr. McLean was asked to get a waiver. And I don't think that happened on Saturday. So here we are again. This is not a Riverside issue.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chataya.
Yes, Your Honor. My client is 62 years old. He has been an Atlanta resident for 3 years. He almost finished college at Georgia State University. He was a few credits shy of obtaining a degree in financial management, and he has been on Social Security for the past 5 years. So the longer he stays in jail, the higher the risk that those Social Security benefits get taken away. With that, Your Honor, I ask for the lowest available bond value for this case.
Kasha, are you with me?
I am, Your Honor.
Would you mind paying Mr. Poole a visit for the court and reporting back to me to see if he needs a BHET?
I can do that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you. And I don't want to make him wait, Ms. Bridgewater, until the 28th. Could we put him on the calendar on the 21st?
I'll do it. Yes, sir.
Okay, so I'm gonna leave the bond where it is at the present time, $1,000 good bond. And we'll I'll get a report back on the need for a BHET when I see him at the SAP calendar. Stay away from the early street address and from the alleged victim, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. All right. Thank you. I appreciate it, Kasha. Good luck to you, Mr. Poole. I'll see you back.
No problem, Your Honor.
What's the next name?
Next, Your Honor, is gonna be position number 15, Mr. Powers.
Good afternoon, Mr. Power. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000229B with 2 counts of theft by deception. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was February the 4th, 2020 out of Fulton County for driving without a license. There is a total of 12 arrest cycles. There was a felony conviction in 2006 for sale of counterfeit reserve notes. There appears to be a hold out of Hapeville for obstruction, and the date of that is May the 9th, 2024. Nothing further to report.
Thank you. Ms. Desiano?
Yes, Judge, this happened January 11th at the Red Deck at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The defendant was there acting like he was a parking attendant and taking money from people in order to park there. The defendant was approached by officers, and he claimed that he was selling a parking pass that he bought that he wasn't going to use. However, the investigation revealed that he had actually obtained an employee pass, like a barcode that works for the gate, and was charging patrons the fee and then scanning the employee card to let them into the parking deck. So he's charged with 2 counts of theft by deception because there was 2 transactions that were seen on surveillance. However, the stadium believes that there were actually 9 transactions in total. The defendant had $175 on his person when he was arrested. The state's requesting a $500 good bond on each count. Stay away from the stadium, no weapons, drugs, or alcohol.
Your Honor, Mr. Powers is 50. He is an electrician helper in his occupation. He has 12th grade education. He has an address in the 30315 zip code area. We got 2 good phone numbers for him, actually 3. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond in this situation.
I'm going to release him to the hold. It'll be a $2,000 signature bond through the jail on each charge, makes for a total of a $4,000 signature bond through the jail. Stay away from the stadium. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. I'm going to let you out, Mr. Power, but if you don't come back for your next hearing date, they're going to put a warrant out for you, okay?
Sure.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Next, Your Honor, is gonna be position number 16, go to the 3rd row. It's gonna be Mr. Priester, Reginald Priester.
Good afternoon, Mr. Priester. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0002278 with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was February 3rd, 2021, out of Atlanta for battery. They have 5 arrest cycles out of Georgia. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Allen, Ms. Desiano?
I'm sorry, Judge. This is Mr.
Priester, position number 16.
Yeah, I thought this was Miss Allen's case, but I can pull it up real quick.
Your Honor, I see a Samsung, but I don't know if that is Andrew, his dad, or not. Let me make sure there's no movie.
Yes, I'm his dad. I'm Andrew Priester.
Okay, Mr. Priester, I'll be with you. Just hang on for us, okay?
No moving vehicle.
And I got it, Miss Desiano.
Okay. Sorry, Miss Allen. I'm trying to even find this case.
You're on mute, Miss Allen.
Thank you.
Okay.
This is an incident from January the 11th of 2025. Simple battery family violence. Specifically, it's alleged that the defendant pushed and caused discomfort and injury to his grandmother, Cynthia Woodbury. This was at 1157 Sells Avenue. Police were called at about 2:15 in the afternoon. Actually, they were patrolling the area and then responded to that person with mental health issues happening call. On scene, they spoke with Mrs. Woodbury grandma. She said her grandson had assaulted her and was using profanity towards her. She said that she'd asked him to clean up behind himself and take a shower. And that's when he became irritated. He pushed her. She said she didn't want medical attention. He had left the scene, but it was because he realized she was going to call the police. When police were leaving the location, they spotted the defendant and spoke with him. He said his name was Reggie, and then he gave his entire first name. He said he had an MH diagnosis, and he was off of his medication. We can hear you, Miss Woodbury, and that he'd been off his medication for a period of time. And he asked to be taken to Grady. He was cooperative. We're asking for a social worker visit, a mental health evaluation, or a BHET requirement that this young man stay medication compliant. Let me see, 1 second. We have spoken to the victim, Mrs. Woodbury, who's joining us, and I think having some technical difficulties, but she confirmed the events, and she said that medication for the past 2 years has been an issue, which is why we're asking for an evaluation rather than a visit. That this incident turned physical. It's not usually the case, but it's not the first time that he's displayed violence. She says that there's a previous case, 21 CR 000476A. But she also reports that she's not in fear. So obviously, there's some support that is needed here. We're asking for no further violence. He can return, but we're asking for a $3,000 surety, Your Honor. And the 21 CR case that the victim mentioned is a battery family violence conviction. He completed probation in 2023 successfully.
Okay. Ms. Woodbury, I see you there. If you would like to address the court, now is your opportunity. I'll need for you to unmute yourself and activate your camera for me.
Okay. Before he do it or I do it.
Okay, you have to, Miss Woodbury, you're on mute there, so you have to unmute yourself, ma'am.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can, yes, ma'am. Can you raise your right hand for me, please?
Yes, sir.
Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down. Thank you, ma'am. What would you like to tell the court?
I'd just like to tell the court that unfortunately my grandson, when he's off the medication, he acts like this. And I noticed it a couple of months ago. And I'm just asking, you know, I want him to be home, but I just want him to get some help.
Okay. Does he live with you at your address, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And what type of help has he had in the past?
What kind of what?
Is he treating with somebody at the present time?
No, I don't think he's doing nothing because he said you don't have to take the medicine. See, that's what the problem is.
Okay. All right. Thank you for being here, Ms. Woodbury. We appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Mr. McLean?
Mr. Andrews, do you have anything to add on help in getting the meds right? Or did Mr. Andrews there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, hold
I mean,
on
it's
one second, sir. If you'll raise your right hand for me.
yes, sir.
Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you can place your hand down and tell me your full name, please.
My name is Andrew Priester.
Okay, yes, Mr. Priester. Go ahead.
I'd just like to add, he definitely needs some counseling and maybe some help with like for his medication compliance. But right now it's been a strain. We just lost his sister back in July to violence, to gun violence. His sister's only 2 years older than him, so it's a lot of stressors there that he's going through. So he definitely needs some counseling. I just don't think that the actual, you know, jailing or you know what I'm saying, or a high bond or something that you know what I'm saying he can't get out, because right now it's been a strain on us for his bearing his sister and just taking care of a lot of things.
Okay. Thank you for being here, Mr. Priester.
Yes.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, we'd ask the court to consider a signature bond upon condition over to Grady immediately and become medication compliance.
Okay. Well, who's going to take him to Grady?
I was hoping Mr. Andrews, Mr. Priester might. Mr. Priester, are you back?
Yes,
on?
he lived with his grandmother, but I can arrange to get him to Grady, some type of way. They have him prescribe his medications.
Does he go to 13?
Can I cut in?
You have something to say, Ms. Woodbury?
Yes. Me and his mother get together. I'm sure he get this better. So this won't happen again. So we all trying to do it as a family.
I was unable to hear that, Your Honor, but I would note that the disposition in 2022 on that battery family violence against grandma required that he undergo a MH evaluation and continue treatment. And so it sounds like maybe an ACT team situation might be what's appropriate here, where medication is not voluntary. You just heard from the victim the second time she's been victimized, that he has been off his meds for about a 2-year period that would coincide with the end of his probation in that last case. Just based on the testimony of the family members, there's not only a concern for everybody's safety, but an obvious need for some resources.
Okay. Again, let's see, Ms. Bridgewater,
Yes, sir.
I would like this case also placed on, instead of the 28th, the 21st calendar for me.
Okay.
All right, I'd like, Mr. Priester to have a social worker visit,
Mhm.
to give me recommendations on, how to proceed. But at this point in time, it'll be a $3,000 good bond, no further violent contact with Ms. Woodbury, social worker visit, stay medication compliant, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Mr. Priester, are you still with me?
Yes, sir.
I want to try to get a more accurate view of what's going on with your son. So I'm going to have a social worker visit with him to make a recommendation to me as to how he's going to come back and see me personally at the at what we call the state all-purpose calendar, which will be on Tuesday, the 21st. If he does not bond out, okay? If he bonds out, then I won't be able to see him at that time. But if he doesn't bond out, then I'll see him back and I'll revisit this bond and we'll go from there, okay?
Okay.
All right, good luck to you all.
Ward, Ward. Gonna be position number 23. Jakino Ward.
Okay. Good afternoon, Mr. Ward. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000216A with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was January 4th, 2025, out of Atlanta for possession of marijuana less than an ounce. They have a total of 6 adult arrest cycles in Georgia. There is a felony conviction in 2020 for aggravated assault where they received first offender treatment and no seal date is listed. There's 4 open cases. The first one is 24 CR 007558A for criminal trespass, 23 CR 004741A, also criminal trespass, 23 CP 223576, battery, family violence, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce, 23 SC 190164, possession of marijuana with intent to distribute and possession of drug-related objects. Nothing further to report.
Sally?
Your Honor, this is an incident from the 11th of January. Police went to the location. It's 878 Norwood Road. That's the Big Brother Food Mart. It's the same officer responding on January the 11th who arrested this young man for possession of marijuana on the 4th. And that's when he was given the criminal trespass warning to stay away from the Big Brother Food Mart. You just heard he's got 4 open cases, 2 of which are criminal trespasses and open felony drug distribution. So I imagine him not being welcome at that location is based on that kind of behavior. Nonetheless, he is not obeying the orders of the court in at least 4 of his open cases. The clerk at the location called police and reported that the young man that they just arrested on the 4th had returned and was on the property. He was recognized by the officer who'd arrested him just days before and placed into the patrol vehicle. We're asking for a $2,000 surety, a stay away from the location, 878 Norwood Road Southeast. That's the Big Brother Food Mart, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Thank you.
Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Ward is 22, and the information I gleaned from him was that he worked at the cookout as part of the crew at the cookout restaurant. I don't have the education level. However, we would ask the court to consider a signature bond. Thank you.
Excuse me, Judge.
No, you don't need to talk today. It's bond hearing.
That's $1,000 good bond. Stay away from the Big Brother Food Mart. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Ward.
All right. I'll tell your family. Okay. Next is gonna be number 18, Mr. Real. Yeah, come on. No, look, that is. No, you don't go big guy right here.
Good afternoon, Mr. Real. You've been charged in case 25CR0000211A with battery. Is there a history?
True.
The last arrest was March 22nd, 2010, out of Lamar County for disorderly conduct. They have a total of 8 arrest cycles in Georgia. A misdemeanor conviction in 2003 for obstruction, 2005 possession of marijuana less than an ounce. Nothing further.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. One moment. This is an incident from October the 16th of 2024. Police were actually appraised of the incident when the victim in the case walked into the precinct and made a report. The victim in this case is Derek Moore. He is a co-worker with the defendant. They still work together, actually. Mr. Moore, on the 17th of October, walked into I believe it was zone 6, and reported that he'd gotten into a verbal altercation while working at a location for the HVAC company he works for. This was at 794 Ralph McGill Boulevard. He had just come off the roof doing some work, walked into the location where he saw the defendant, who started to yell at him about damaging his work truck. The victim indicated that he didn't know what the defendant was talking about, but nonetheless, in front of witnesses, the defendant got off his ladder where he was working and struck him in the face. Evidently, there was some kind of fluid spilled in the bed of the truck that this defendant drives for his company, and he thought someone was trying to harm his company truck on purpose, specifically this victim. The victim did go to the hospital and ended up being diagnosed with a fracture of the orbital bone. When police spoke to this defendant, he was irate. He was adamant that the victim had fallen and that he'd never made physical contact. Unfortunately for him, there were witnesses there. The witness also reported that when he walked in, the victim was on the floor holding his face saying, "What did I do? What did I do?" So although we've spoken with the victim today, and this is an incident that happened in October, the victim today is saying that they still work together. And of course, he, a few weeks after this incident, the defendant apologized and that they still work together, so he is not fearful. We're asking for a $2,000 SOB through pretrial, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons in an anger awareness or anger management class, Your Honor. No further violent contact. And if you'd sound for the victim, Mr. Moore.
So I see you there. If you wish to address the court, now is your opportunity. I need for you to unmute yourself, activate your camera, and I'll have to swear you in if you choose to address the court. Doesn't appear that he wishes to address the court this afternoon. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, no objection.
All right, it'll be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, 1-day anger awareness, no further violent contact with Mr. Moore, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 19, Mr. Ross.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Mr. Ross. You've been charged in case 25 CR 00212E with theft by shoplifting. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was November the 4th, 2024, out of Gwinnett for theft by receiving and obstruction. They have a total of 28 arrest cycles in Georgia. Felony conviction in 2002 for criminal damage to property. Misdemeanor conviction in 2023 for theft by shoplifting. 2017 battery. 2009 theft by shoplifting. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. The defendant was on video taking a $150 bottle of bourbon from the location in College Park. It's 5065 Old National Highway. It's specifically, I had it, hold on, the Gold Star package store. He was observed coming in, putting the bottle of liquor under his shirt and leaving without paying. The incident was investigated and an arrest warrant was issued. You will note that based on pretrial and our review of the criminal history, he was just convicted of a theft and has a significant history. We're asking for $1,000 surety to stay away from that location. Again, the address specifically is 5065 Old National Highway, Gold Star package store, no drugs, alcohol, or weapons.
Your Honor, Mr. Ross is 45. He has an address on Willow Ridge and Avondale Estates. He has some college. He is a American Automobile Association contractor, mobile services for several years. He would like to ask the court to consider a signature bond. He and I have had the discussion, and he is aware of what's going on here. We would ask the court to consider a signature bond, Your Honor.
All right, it'll be a $500 good bond. Stay away from the Gold Star package store. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Ross.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next is position number 20, Mr. Saucier. Go to the third one.
Good afternoon, Mr. Saucier. You've been charged in case 25 CR 00213H with simple battery and criminal trespass and damage to property. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was June the 27th, 2024, out of Clayton County for a probation violation. They have a total of 5 arrest cycles in Georgia. Misdemeanor conviction in 2024 for driving while license suspended or revoked. Nothing further to report.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. This is an incident from the 12th of January at about 1:50 a.m. Police were called to 4021 Lakemont Drive in College Park because the defendant called 911 and said that the victim was pointing a gun at him. On scene, police met with the defendant, the 911 caller, who said his ex-girlfriend had access to social media and got angry and threatened him with a firearm. Police both spoke to the victim. Her name is Amaya Willis. She denied that there was any firearm involved. She allowed police to search her residence. They found no firearm. She reported that she had just evicted the defendant and handed him his eviction papers. The eviction was going to take place on February the 2nd. She also, police then just told the two people that they needed to spend the night apart. So rather than make an arrest or intervene, they agreed to help the defendant in front of you get his things from downstairs and give him a ride to the gas station because he asked for a ride. The police documents indicate that in that ride with the police, he said things like, "You're going to have to come back to this location. You're going to get a call back out here. I'm going to take matters into my own hands." The police left us at the gas station, and guess what? Shortly thereafter, they got called back to the location where the victim was seen standing outside and she was visibly upset. She reported that the defendant argued with her about a portable speaker. He had returned to the location. He had slapped her during this argument, striking her in the face and breaking her glass. The incident report notes that College Park police had also been to the location on December the 17th for a similar incident. And again, the defendant was not arrested that time either. So it sounds like in College Park, you get like 3 tries, huh? We're asking, Your Honor, based on his criminal history, for $3,000 SOB through pretrial to stay away from that location, 4021 Lakemont Drive. Have no contact with Amaya Willis, Amaya Willis, Willis, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while on bond. And if you'd sound from Miss Willis, we left her a message but hadn't heard back today.
Any objection to any of the state's requests, Mr. McLean?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
All right. For the simple battery, it'd be a $2,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. For the criminal trespass, $1,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1, makes for a total of a $3,000 signature bond through pretrial level 1. No further contact with Ms. Willis. Stay away from the Lakemont Drive address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, sir.
Next, we have position number 21, Mr. Spotsville. You go to.
Good afternoon, Mr. Spotsville. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000214G with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was January 1st, 2025 for driving without a license out of East Point. They have a total of 10 arrests out of Georgia and Texas. There was a felony conviction in 2009 for escape, 2013 robbery, misdemeanor conviction in 2013 for evading arrest, and 2018 assault. There appears to be a hold out of Duluth for an FTA. The date of that warrant is January 19th, 2021. Nothing further to report.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Spotsville also has a open battery family violence, 24 CR 000473G. That's in bench warrant status. He failed to appear on April the 9th of 2024 for plea and arraignment. 1 second, I'll give you the bond information. He's got a $1,000 good bond in that case. It's with a different victim, Your Honor. And that was from January of 2024, signed by Judge Williams. Today, in front of you, he is charged with a simple battery. And it is family violence. It's from the 10th of January. Police were called to 4498 Washington Road in East Point. This was about 9 in the evening. The victim in this case is Vernon, Vernen, Lamar, Lemar. She is a female. Police initially made contact with a witness on the scene who said that he watched a woman and her children run into the location, which is a Days Inn, screaming and saying someone was going to kill them, the gentleman that was following them, obviously. The defendant was then seen coming into the location, holding a black object and saying, "Where's she at?" He then tackled her from behind and was trying to get her to go back to a room. When the witness, Mr. Dowell, said he was going to call the police, the defendant fled. Surveillance footage corroborated that statement and shows the defendant running into the lobby after the woman and her children come in. Police spoke to Mrs. Lamar. She reported that her boyfriend and her children and she had been inside her vehicle, and they argued because the defendant has a drinking problem and she was going to leave the hotel for the night. He became angry and he strangled her in the car and grabbed her hair. Her children stepped in and tried to defend her, and they fled, all three of them, into the lobby, where witnesses saw the defendant chase her and then tackle her to the ground. She reports that they lived together previously and were now together at this hotel. There were no marks on her at the time she made this report. The defendant was taken into custody, Your Honor. We've been in touch with the victim today, and although this happened just a few days ago, she's now saying she was drunk and she has no memory of anything that happened, and he's never been violent with her in the past. So we're asking for a $3,000 surety bond based on his current open battery family violence with someone else. The fact that this was witnessed by other individuals, and that there's a concern here for intimidation. There has been communication between the defendant and the victim from the jail. If you'd sound for the victim, Your Honor, specifically her name, excuse me, I apologize.
Vernon Lamar.
Vernon Lamar, Mrs. Lamar, if you would sound for her in case she decided to join us.
Okay. Ms. Lamar is on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Doesn't appear so. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, I guess I would also ask, one of the things she told us is that the children that she has, she does not share with the defendant. And so we'd be asking for no contact with Ms. Lamar and no contact with her children as well.
Okay. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, no contact is appropriate. He would ask the court to consider a signature bond. He has some college. He is 33 years old. The court has heard about his record of arrest. His job is with Tolerance Landscaping Company. He's done that for 3 years. And before that, he worked as a manager at a McDonald's restaurant, and before that as a chef at the Volt restaurant. They don't live together, so he asked for a signature bond, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, it'll be a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Lamar. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Spotsville.
Next, position number 22, Mr. Walker.
Good afternoon, Mr. Walker. You've been charged in case 25 CR 0000215C with battery family violence, simple battery family violence, and giving false information to law enforcement. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was February 24th, 2024 out of Fulton County for battery family violence. That's their only arrest cycle. That case number is 24 CR 0000911C. Nothing further.
Thank you. Stalin?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. This is an incident from the 11th of January at 2874 Pearl Street at about 9 a.m. Police were called to the location where they met with the victim in this case, the mother of this defendant. She reports that the defendant struck her in the mouth. She was seen to have a visibly swollen lip as a result. There was also a juvenile present who was seen exiting the residence when police arrived. The defendant was standing in the doorway as police came up and was yelling at his mom because she called 12, which, if you're not sure or you don't know, means you called the police on me and I'm upset. He was detained immediately based on his demeanor at that time. His mom, her name is Shanta Shepard, Chaunta. She reports that the defendant swung at her, striking her in the mouth, and got aggressive because she told him to calm down. He had pushed the juvenile who was present at the location, and he got into her face and struck her. It was seen that he has an active warrant for battery from August the 30th of 2024. We spoke to we tried to speak to the victim this morning, but her phone was not accepting any calls. We're asking for a $2,000 surety to stay away from that location, 2874 Pearl Street, to have no contact with Shanta Shepherd or anyone else at the location, including any juveniles, and no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. His mother had to provide police with his real name and date of birth. He said his last name was Walter instead of Walker, and he said he was born in 2002 instead of 2001. Thank you. If you'd sound for Mrs. Shepherd, just in case she decided to join us.
Ms. Allen, do you have any information on the 911C battery family violence that pretrial was telling me about?
Say that again, I apologize.
Apparently there's a 2024 battery family violence that ends in 911C.
Yeah, 1 second.
Okay. If Ms. Shepherd is on the line and wishes to address the court, now is your opportunity to do so. While Ms. Allen's looking that up for me, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, Mr. Walker lives on Lorenzo Drive, so there would be no problem and stay away. He has an education in the 10th grade and he's going to be working on his GED. He's got the arrest record is what is named, Your Honor. He has a job as an unarmed security guard, and prior to that he worked for UPS, and he wishes to increase his earning ability, so he'll be trying for better paying jobs at things like Amazon and DHL, but he is industrious. He's 24 years old, and like I said, he lives with his aunt, so Pearl Street is not a problem to stay away from in any way whatsoever. We would ask the court to consider St. Siobhan.
So that 24 CR 000 911C case is in bench warrant status, Your Honor. The defendant failed to appear at plea and arraignment in August of 2024. That is a simple battery family violence case. He currently has a $2,000 SOB through pretrial that you gave him in February of 2024. He was ordered to do a day of anger awareness to stay away from a Fairburn Road address and have no further contact with Timashion Walker.
Okay, thank you. All right, for the battery, it'll be $1,000 good bond. For the simple battery, a $500 good bond. For the false information, a $500 good bond. Makes for a total of a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with the alleged victim. Stay away from the Pearl Street address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. Walker.
Hey, Ms. Allen, the
Yes.
other simple battery, was that NOD?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes. Mrs. Simmons sent over an NOD earlier.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. I'll forward it to you. I'll go get it.
All right. Next, Your Honor, is going to be position number 25, Mr. White.
Good afternoon, Mr. White. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000218G with simple battery family violence. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was December 11th, 2019 out of Fulton for simple battery family violence. That's their only arrest cycle. That open case number is 21 CR 000-495G. Nothing further.
Ms. Allen?
Thank you, Your Honor. That open case is with the same victim, Mrs. Tigner, Tigner. First name is Quinasha, Quinasha. 21 CR is an incident from 2019. It's alleged that he grabbed and pulled her off the bed. It was a bindover from East Point, Your Honor, and included in his bindover paperwork, a bond order that said he was to have no further contact with her. He has since had arrest warrants issued for failure to appear, and then had those warrants rescinded by the state court. And this case went from Orca and has gone back to the division, so that's why it's still open. The case in front of you today with the same victim is from January the 11th. Police were called to 201 Maury Avenue, apartment 506. There they met with the victim, who reported that her boyfriend slapped her multiple times in the face. She had bruises on her face. Her shirt was ripped. She had cuts on her hands and the bruising to her eye. She reported that he'd assaulted her the day before as well. And children were present, 2 of them. We did speak to Mrs. Tigner today. She reports that they share a child. She confirmed what occurred and said that she had injuries from the day before, and that's what police saw. She also confirmed that this is not the first time he's been violent with her and that police have been involved. She also talked about their open case, but says she wants him to come home and she's not afraid. We're asking for a $4,000 surety, no contact with Ms. Tigner or the child or children in her care. There's 2 children, ZW initial and MB initials. No drugs, alcohol, or weapons, Your Honor. And we'd ask the order include if the defendant wants to have contact with his biological child, he would need to do so through another superior court case. Thank you. If you'd call for Ms. Tigner in case she's joined us.
Ms. Tigner's on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Ms. Tigner, if you'll get to a steady place for me.
Hi, I would like to address the court because when I
Okay,
did
okay,
tell-
okay. Hold on. Okay, raise your right hand for me, ma'am. Do you swear from the testimony you're about to give before this court be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, you can place your hand down. What would you like to tell the court?
So when I spoke to her, I did tell her that I didn't tell her that those bruises was from the day before, and I also told her that the time in 2019, that was the time before that we had had these problems, and I also told her that I would like for him to come home because we do share a child that we both have to care for. And I told her that I would recommend anger management or something like that for him.
Okay, so you know from that other case that you all weren't supposed to be around each other. You do realize that, don't you?
Yes.
Okay, so he's in violation of a court order right there. So there's a way to go about if you want to have contact instead of violating an order. I can't see your face, Ms. Tigner. Okay, there we go. And tell me how old your children are.
Zuri is 5 and Mahogany is my goddaughter and she just turned 7.
Okay, and as all this is going on in the household, where are they?
They was in the room sleeping.
Okay.
They was
All
in
right.
their room sleeping because it's a 2-bedroom.
Okay. Anything else you want to tell me?
Not really.
Okay, well, let me just tell you this, okay? So you already have an order that says that he's not to be around you. So I'm going to order that he not also. If I find out that he's going to be right there, it does none of you any good to have him sitting there in jail. And he's going to be sitting there if he keeps coming around you, violating the court order. You understand what I'm saying? So he's going to be right back where he is. So you all have to make some arrangements other than seeing each other until all of this is resolved. All right. Thank you for being here this afternoon, Ms. Tigner. Yes, Mr. McLean.
Your Honor, DeAnthony White is 26. His educational level is high school GED equivalent. Your Honor, he works as an Amazon personal shopper and has done so for a couple of months. And before that, he worked for years for Home Depot as a customer service representative. We would ask the court to consider the lowest bond possible including the signature bond, if that is available.
It'll be a $2,000 good bond. No further contact with Ms. Tigner. Stay away from the Maury Avenue address. No drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Good luck to you, Mr. White.
Thank you, Judge. And once again, Ms. Allen, this was.
I have a question.
Whoa, Ms. Allen.
Yes, I see that there was a misdemeanor terroristic threats based on statements made to police, and that was an NOD. I'll forward that as well.
That's what I was gonna say. He never said anything about shooting at the police. Like that was never said. We was on the 911 call the entire time, and that was never said.
Okay, well, that's been dismissed, okay?
Thank you.
All right, who do we have next?
Position number 26, Mr. Robert Young.
Good afternoon, Mr. Young. You have been charged in case 25 CR 0000219G with criminal trespass. Is there a history, Ms. Hardy?
The last arrest was November 16th, 2024 out of Fulton for a probation violation. They have a total of 10 arrest cycles in Georgia. Felony conviction in 2015 for burglary, theft by taking. It appears they have 2 probation cases. The first one is 24 CR 003939G for obstruction and 23 CR 007945G criminal trespass and simple battery. Nothing further to report.
So,
Your Honor, this is a case from January the 11th. At about 11 a.m., police were called to 3566 Cantrell Road. There they met with the victim who owns that property. His last name is Saibu, S-A-I-B-U. First name is Dauda, D-A-U-D-A. He reported that he'd come to the location the day before and checked, and it seemed fine. He had returned that day on the 11th because he was going to show the residents it's for sale and vacant. When he came to the location and went inside, he saw that the defendant was inside. He called 911. Police made contact with the defendant who claimed that he owned the location, he owned that residence, and he'd been living there for years. Inside the location, police saw that a back window had been broken to allow access. There were blankets on the floor in the hallway and liquor bottles in the bathroom, Your Honor. The defendant is currently on probation and has a criminal history you just heard about. We're asking for $1,000 surety to stay away from that location, 3566 Cantrell Road, and no drugs, alcohol, and weapons. If you'd sound from Mr. Saibu, in case he was able to join us, we'd also ask for a social worker visit, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Saban's on the line and wishes to address the court. Now is your opportunity. Mr. McLean?
Your Honor, Mr. Young has a 9th grade education. He tells me he will stay away from the address.
I want to speak myself too.
But we'd rather you not, Mr. Young.
No, sir, I want to speak. You can't tell me I can't speak because this go deeper than that. Because first, can I speak, sir?
This is not.
I don't need him to speak because he's not trying to let me speak because I know the truth of everything going on. But y'all going off the Odyssey system and not the Fulton County Sheriff's.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Young, hold on for me for a second. Let me just say, you have a right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. This isn't a time to litigate. This isn't a time to litigate it. You're going to have your opportunity to do that at a later date. This is just.
It's now because it's not even charged. If y'all re-fingerprint me, and look in the NCIC system, it didn't even charge me. No human being can press charges on me under the NCIC system, which is compatible with the satellite in our eyes and minds. And that's how you get press charges. All these charges y'all saying, I have not got pressed on it. Y'all doing it with the Odyssey system, and y'all reading the Odyssey system to fake like I got charges and fake like I got time. But
okay.
Hold on, with this being said, all this is because y'all know who I am. I am the owner of Bitcoin.
Okay. So,
no, crazy.
Norris, can you help me there?
I got you. We definitely.
All right, so, yeah, thank you.
Can I,
Mr. McLean, I think there needs to be a social worker visit to assess for a BHET. So as such, it'll be $1,000 good bond, social worker visit to assess for a BHET. No further contact with the alleged victim, stay away from the incident location, and no drugs, alcohol, weapons while out on bond. Okay? All right. Good luck to you, Mr. Young. Thank you all. Okay, let's see. I believe that completes the calendar, if I'm not mistaken. Did we miss anyone?
No, sir.
All right, very good. Let's see. Ms. Bridgewater, whenever you're ready for us.
Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is January the 28th. Position number 1 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. Position number 2 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial with a cosigner. 3 is reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 4, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. 5, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 6, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 7 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $3,000 good bond. 8, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 9 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 10 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. 11, reset further notice with a $5,000 SOB through pretrial. 12, reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through pretrial. 13 is going to the SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. Position 14 is going to the SAP calendar for January the 21st with a $1,000 good bond. Position 15 is reset further notice with a total $4,000 SOB through the jail. 16 is going to the January the 21st SAP calendar with a $3,000 good bond. 17 is going to the SAP calendar dated January the 28th with a $2,000 good bond. 18 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. 19 is reset to the January 28th SAP calendar with a $500 good bond. 20, reset further notice with a total $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 21, SAP calendar dated January the 28th with a $2,000 good bond. 22, SAP calendar dated January the 28th with a total $2,000 good bond. 23, SAP calendar dated January the 28th with a $1,000 good bond. 24 is reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. 25 is going to the January the 28th SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. And 26 is going to the January the 28th SAP calendar with a $1,000 good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise?
Okay, if not, I will see everyone tomorrow. Y'all have
I
a good
appreciate you guys today. We're a little.
Take care, everybody. and until
Monday be
tomorrow.
Mondayin'.
Bye-bye.
All right,
Bye, y'all.
bye-bye.
Stay warm.